All right, so being a full-time developer and a full-time dad and trying to network, trying to do blog posts, trying to do this for you guys can be a lot. And it's easy to feel like you always need to be on the go because of the nature of this industry. The tech industry is a super fast-paced industry that is always on the move, always innovating, always releasing new things. Someone's always got the next big thing that you feel like you need to do as well. The point of me saying all that is that there's a thing called burnout that a lot of web developers, programmers, and software engineers get themselves into. I'm guilty of this too. It's just like anything else. Burning out, doing things for extended periods of time and doing them too hard or going too hard on yourself, not giving yourself a break, can cause you to go into this state of just not wanting to do anything. You're totally exhausted, you're totally spent, and that's burnout. So in today's video, I want to talk about burnout, how you can spot the signs that you may be heading down that path, and if you are heading down that path, how to avoid those things, how to change those things. But first, if you're new here, my name is Corey and I am a web developer, and I've been in your shoes before. I had no idea what coding was. I didn't know how to write JavaScript or HTML, how to build websites, anything like that. I didn't know what parts made up the web. Through a series of failures and successes, I developed a game plan for myself and taught myself how to code, and eventually landed a job in the industry. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in or a path that you're currently going down, hit the subscribe button down below and the little notification bell so you can be notified when I put these videos out every week. My aim with this channel is to help you eventually land a job. All right, so let's get into the video. Today, I really want to talk about coding burnout and how that affects people. Also, how to avoid coding burnout. It's something that you don't think about when you start to code because it's new and it's exciting and it's novel, and you're so gung-ho that you just want to jump in and do everything to the best of your ability to push yourself as hard as you can go to learn what you're trying to learn. But it's important to spot the signs of burnout before they happen. If you're starting to neglect other parts of your life, if you're just exhausted all the time, if you're not finding coding fun anymore, there's probably a reason behind it. See, the problem with a lot of developers is that they don't have an off switch. This is an industry that pushes people to their limits, and a lot of developers fall into this category of overwork and overachievers. So instead of spotting the signs and acknowledging the signs that they need to take a break, they just push harder because they feel like they're not working hard enough. But in reality, it's a lot healthier to take a step back, take a breath, maybe take a week or two away from coding so you can refresh, recharge, and get back at it. So here's the thing that like a lot of developers need to hear. It's not the end of the world if you take a break from coding. You're not gonna fall behind. You're not gonna forget what you learned. You're not going to suddenly stop being a programmer because you took a break. And it's hard. I mean, we're on Twitter all the time. We're on GitHub and Dev and Medium, and you're seeing all of these articles and all of these tweets and social media accounts that these people are pushing and building things every day, and you think that you have to live up to that standard, and it's just not true. So essentially, coding burnout is when you just don't feel like coding anymore. It can manifest itself in a lot of different ways. So for example, when I experience burnout, it usually manifests itself in a way that I just don't feel like doing anything. I feel bad about not doing anything, but I'm exhausted and I let other parts of my life slip away. That project that I've been wanting to do for so long that sounds so fun to me, that was fun to me, just doesn't sound interesting at all anymore. You can see how this would be counterproductive. To keep pushing harder, you're just gonna dig yourself a deeper hole. When in reality, you just need to take a step back, do something else, get some activity, go outside, take a vacation from coding to get back in the swing of coding. All right, so I wanna give you some practical tips to overcome coding burnout. We've kind of talked about what it is, so how do you avoid it or how do you remedy it? The first thing I would say is if you're experiencing this type of burnout because of a job, maybe take a step back and start to pursue passion projects outside of work. Unfortunately, the nature of the business is that you're not always gonna get to work on what you want to work on at work, and that's okay, that's just life. But if it's starting to bog you down, you need to try to switch gears when you come home. So that might be working on a new website or a fun little project or just learning something new. Or that might mean learning nothing at all and just taking a break when you come home. The second piece of advice I would give someone is to be okay with saying no. And this works with all facets of life, whether it be guest speaking for those of you who do that sort of thing, picking up a pair programming project, that's hard to say, or just an extra shift at work. Be okay with saying no. You're not gonna hurt someone's feelings, and in the long run, it's gonna help you say yes later on. The third piece of advice that I would give is to understand what kind of developer you are. This one is super important, especially for young and new devs. Your first job is probably not gonna be the dream job that you've always wanted, and it's not gonna be something that you most likely want to be doing. Sure, it'll use aspects of what you learned in either a boot camp or what you taught yourself or even at school, but most likely you're gonna have to compromise in one area or another. That's okay, but also realize that this is a stepping stone process. A lot of developers use jobs to gain experience to get into jobs that they actually want later on down the road. All right, the fourth piece of advice that I would give someone is to set realistic goals on a daily basis. If need be, take it down a notch. You don't have to be going 100% all of the time. Try to focus on 10% more energy towards 40% less work. All right, and the last piece of advice I have to give is probably the most important piece of advice I have to give, and that's to take care of yourself physically. So we know to practice mental self-care, especially in a field that we use our brain so much, but it's even more important to treat ourselves with care physically. Try to exercise as often as you can, and that could be just a 20-30 minute walk every other day, just getting out of your seat and moving your body around. Drink more water. To use your brain, you have to be hydrated, right? We're made up of what, 70% water, something like that? You need to be hydrated. This is something that I had to consciously remind myself to do throughout the day. So if you had to make a list, or if you have to put a reminder in your phone, drink more water. Try to eat healthier as well. I think a lot of developers get into the habit of just having snacks around their desk because they're always working. But take breaks and try to fit in healthy meals to increase your energy levels. And try to get as much sleep as possible. This is hard for a full-time dad, and I know a lot of you are full-time parents, and I understand it, I feel your pain, but you've got to try to get as much rest as possible, because if you're not your 100% throughout the day, but you're not gonna perform as well as you would. And that affects you. That's definitely a contributing factor when it comes to burnout. If you're frustrated because you can't solve a problem, or you're stuck on a bug because you're tired, that's just gonna make you more pissed off, and you're gonna try to work harder, and it's not gonna work. It's basically you hitting your head against a wall. All right, friends, so I hope you found value in the video today. I know it's not a topic that we typically talk about in this industry, but it's a very real topic. It's something that I've dealt with in the past, and it's something that people I know have dealt with in the past as well. Also, I'd love to know some of the things that you guys use to combat coding burnout. So if you would, put those down in the comments below. And as always, if you found value in the video today, please hit that thumbs up and the subscribe button. It definitely helps this channel grow, and I so appreciate it. And until next time, keep coding.